Welcome back to the Sunday Show. I'm Jonathan Capehart. What began last year as a manufactured GOP moral panic against critical race theory being taught to public school children, something you already know does not happen, has since morphed into a national fervor for book bans and state legislatures cranking out obtuse, hateful legislation aimed at making illegal the teaching of or even talking about some ideas and identities that, quote, discomfort some groups of people. Because it was never just about race. Take Florida's Don't Say Gay bill, currently making its way through that state's legislature, which would essentially make it illegal for some LGBTQ plus students to simply talk about their identities in the classroom. Not surprisingly, Governor DeSantis has signaled his support for the bill. But in the face of it all, progressive parents and other activists nationwide are saying not so fast as they mobilize and strategize to fight back against this classroom culture war. Against a very organized Republican Party. How are you fighting that battle, and how can the National Democratic Party help?
Well, we have our campaign called Book Ban Busters. And what that is it's a website where we have a interactive map with showing of all of the book bans across the country. And it's in 44 states, by the way. And this is sponsored by our group, Red, Wine, and Blue. So we have that. What we do with the with this website is we invite the moms across the country to join us for trainings. We have our troublemaker trainings that we have every Thursday evening. And we also have other opportunities for them to get together and learn how to mobilize in their communities to fight these bans.
And this troublemaker trainings is about getting folks to go to those school board meetings, even run for school board, so that they are part of that process. Am I have that right?
That's absolutely correct. That is correct. Mm-hmm. We want the ladies to get involved in their communities because these are the things that are important to them. You know, they trust their teachers and they trust, you know, for them to create curriculum and to choose books for students that are appropriate for their age levels. It is really just not appropriate for right-wing groups out of Washington, D.C., led by Steve Bannon, to be choosing the reading in the classrooms across this country.
Lord have mercy, Steve Bannon as like chief librarian is a scary thought. Melanie, you are the brand new executive director of GLSEN, the first African-American and first non-binary person to be in that role. And what a time to get into, to be in that position. Talk about, from your perspective, this Florida Don't Say Gay bill. I mean, I never thought in a million years that a legislature would try to legislate people's abilities to even talk about themselves and their families.
Yeah, this is exactly it. So listen, the story of our democracy is the story of the fight to include everyone, right? Black people, indigenous people, people with disabilities, immigrants, and yes, LGBTQ plus people have always been here, have always been in the fight to include all of us, right? We are fighting for a country where all means all. Education is a cornerstone of our democracy, right? So if we are intent on miseducating the next participants, the next leaders, the next voters in our democracy, let's be clear at least about what we're trying to do. And then finally, I would say, you know, safety is the baseline when it comes to education, right? We know what works. We know that it's about inclusive curriculum, right? This is the LGBTQ plus and race inclusive and family and community inclusive curriculum. We know that this is about supportive educators, supportive policies, and affirming clubs and peer spaces. And so given that we know what works, to ensure success in school and beyond, success in life, connection to community, let's at least be honest about what these bills are trying to accomplish when they take away the support, when they aim to strategically remove the supports that young people need to succeed in school, to connect to their communities, to be safe and affirmed. You
know, I want to have you listen, Melanie, to a person who is testifying against this Don't Say Gay bill. We'll talk about it on the other side.
Yesterday, during a presentation, a young person said about this legislative body, "I feel like they want me dead." When older queer people represent themselves, it's because we want young people not to go through what we had to go through, not because we are trying to indoctrinate them.
And you know, as an out gay man, I completely agree with that 100%. And whether young people who are decades younger than me or not realize this, things are a whole lot better today than they were when I first came out in the mid-'80s. And yet everyone's journey to knowing who they are is very personal and is very individual. But Melanie, your response to that bill opponent, what they said?
I completely agree. You know, coming out is the purpose of coming out is not necessarily for ourselves, right? Queer people have always been around. We've always lived. We've always had community. Coming out is really so that the people who are not yet out can see, right, the full, loving, happy, joyful, connected lives that queer people have and can have, right? So that in their own time, they too can have the access to that liberation, freedom, love, and community that those of us who are out can have. Now let's be clear about what this is intending to do. This is intending to scare children, to erase them, right? To have them think that there is something wrong with them. And these are adults making this argument that know better, right? This is really about adults looking to suppress, looking to erase, looking to, make afraid young people so that they never come out, so that they are convinced by this argument that they are wrong, they should not exist, et cetera. And you and me, we know better. And there are more of us than there are of them, right? So we know, and it is our job to make safe the world for our young people to come out to be exactly who they are.
And Julie, I want to dive in a little bit of time that we have left about some of the some of the how-tos that you tell folks to do when they, especially if they go to a local school board meeting, but fact-based arguments only, organize in real time with text messages, no applause, jazz hands, which I want you to explain, and avoid and replace divisive language. But explain why no applause, jazz hands.
Well, number one, it can be distracting, and it can also limit your time. Most of the time when you testify or speak at a school board meeting, it is timed. And so you don't want to have a lot of folks clapping and taking away time for you to be able to get your point across. But Jonathan, I wanted to also make the point with you that our group is not just progressive moms. We are moms all over the country, and that we don't necessarily label ourselves. We really just care about our kids. Myself, as an example, I'm a wife, and I'm of a Gulf War veteran. I'm a mom. I am a juju to two wonderful little girls who are 9 and 7. And most of all, I'm a Black woman, and I am incensed at the fact that they are trying to erase my history, erase the whole reason why I'm here and how I got here to this place.
Julie, that is a great message to end on, especially reminding me and all of us that what you're doing, it's not just progressive moms, it's moms who care about their children. Julie Collins, Melanie Willingham Jaggers, congratulations on your new job. Thank you both very much for coming to the Sunday Show.